Okay, real talk. When was the last time you watched a guy walk through that curtain? No title, no legend status, no decade-long legacy to lean on, and the entire arena just stopped, like the crowd didn't know whether to cheer, boo, or just stand there with their jaw on the floor, because that's what Jacob Fatu does every single time. And here's the thing. WWE doesn't just stumble into pushing someone to the main event. There's always a calculation behind it, always a reason, always a why. So today we're breaking it all down. Why has WWE put Jacob Fatu on the fast track? Why are they treating him like a franchise investment? Why is this guy, who only debuted in June of 2024, already locked in a World Heavyweight Championship feud with Roman Reigns himself? And the answer is bigger than you think. Let's start at the beginning, because Jacob Fatu is not just some guy WWE found at an indie show and threw on TV. He is an Anoa'i, and if that name doesn't ring a bell, let me paint you a picture. Because the Anoa'i family is the most decorated wrestling dynasty in the history of this business. Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sikoa, Yokozuna, Rikishi, the Wild Samoans, Umaga, Solo Sikoa. The list goes on, and Jacob Fatu is the son of Sam Fatu, better known as Tama or the Tonga Kid, and his cousin is none other than Roman Reigns. This isn't just a bloodline on TV. This is a real bloodline, a real family, and WWE has spent the last few years proving beyond any reasonable doubt that this family prints money. So think about this from a business standpoint. You have a man who is part of the most bankable faction in modern wrestling history, who has a legitimate family connection to your biggest star of the last decade, who can actually go in the ring at an elite level, and he's only 31 years old. So you push that man, you push him hard, and you push him now. Here's what separates Jacob Fatu from the typical big guy that WWE throws at us every few years and hopes something sticks. Because before WWE ever came calling, this man had already built a resume that most wrestlers only dream about. In Major League Wrestling, Jacob Fatu held the World Heavyweight Championship for 819 days. 819 days, the longest reign in MLW history. He didn't just hold a title, he dominated an entire promotion. He made that belt mean something on a roster full of hungry, talented people who wanted exactly what he had. He also won the MLW Battle Riot, their version of a Royal Rumble, in 2022. And he was not just a big guy who looked good standing still. He was the guy they trusted to carry the company on his back. So when WWE signed him and debuted him as part of the new Bloodline in 2024, they weren't taking a gamble. They were cashing in a sure thing. And sure enough, within 2 months of his debut, Fatu and Tama Tonga captured the WWE Tag Team Championships. He then relinquished his half of the titles to become Solo Sikoa's personal enforcer, which, let's be honest, told you everything about where WWE saw him long term. Because he was too valuable to be tied to a tag title. They were saving him. Fast forward to WrestleMania 41, Las Vegas, Night 1, Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the United States Championship, and Fatu wins. Clean, dominant, statement made. And that wasn't just a title change, that was WWE's formal announcement to the entire world that this man is a single star, this man is being elevated, and we're not playing around. And what happened next was even more telling, because the Bloodline Civil War reached its boiling point, and Fatu did something nobody expected. He turned on Solo Sikoa at Money in the Bank. He walked away from the faction that brought him in. He became his own man, and the crowd erupted, not because WWE told them to react, but because they felt it. They believed it, because Fatu's character, his intensity, his physicality, it was all real. And real gets over, always. And then came the Tongan Death Grip, a move made legendary by Haku, a WWE Hall of Famer, which Fatu revived, made his own, and used to systematically dismantle Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and eventually Roman Reigns himself. And when Fatu looked Roman Reigns in the eye and said, "I'm going to take everything from you," before locking in that death grip, the entire arena sat in stunned silence for a second before losing their minds. And that's how you build a top guy. That's how you create a moment. Now let's talk about the cold, hard business of professional wrestling, because WWE is a publicly traded entertainment company, and they don't push people out of sentiment. They push people who drive eyeballs, sell tickets, and create content people actually want to talk about. And Jacob Fatu checks every single box because first, he is a generational talent physically. At 6 feet 2 inches and built like an absolute tank, he moves in the ring with a kind of fluidity and explosiveness that doesn't make sense for a man his size. Moonsaults off the top rope, handsprings, super kicks. He's not just a monster, he's an athletic monster. And those are rare. And second, his storyline has natural depth because the Bloodline Civil War isn't just a wrestling angle. It's a soap opera with real emotional stakes baked in. And when Fatu faces Roman Reigns, you're not watching two strangers fight. You're watching cousins settle a score. You're watching a family tear itself apart over power, pride, and legacy. And that's compelling storytelling that doesn't require heavy exposition because the family drama writes itself. And third, WWE needed a successor narrative because Roman Reigns cannot be the top guy forever. The company has to start laying the pipe for the next era. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker. They're all pieces of that puzzle. But Jacob Fatu is a different flavor. He brings the Bloodline legacy with him. He carries the weight of that history naturally. And that means the transition doesn't feel forced, it feels inevitable. And reports from early 2026 confirmed that WWE internally called for Fatu to have a breakthrough year. And that's exactly what we're seeing play out in real time. Here's where things get really interesting. After WWE Backlash 2026, Fatu came up short against Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. But he didn't go quietly. He attacked Reigns with a Tongan death grip post-match, threw Adam Pearce out of the ring, and made a statement that couldn't be ignored or explained away. Because Fatu losing at Backlash wasn't the end of his story, it was the end of Chapter 1. And the feud between these two cousins has barely scratched the surface. The Usos are still involved. Zilla Fatu is waiting in the wings. And the Tongan death grip has become a signature storytelling device that WWE is using carefully and consistently. Meaning this rivalry has the legs to carry WWE programming through the summer into SummerSlam and potentially beyond, with Jacob Fatu, win, lose, or draw, coming out of it as a made man. Look, WWE doesn't always get it right, we all know that, but with Jacob Fatu, they've done everything correctly from day one. The right family, the right pedigree, the right character work, the right timing, the right opponent. And he is, without question, one of the most exciting long-term investments this company has made in years. So if you're not watching every single week to see what he does next, honestly, what are you doing? Drop a comment below and tell me whether you think Fatu eventually wins that World Heavyweight Championship. Like the video if you're on the Samoan Werewolf side, subscribe if you want more content like this, and I'll catch you in the next one.